right, hi guys, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with Kathy and Lorraine for Ask a Crafter. We are answering the questions that, yes, we have to get in the shot. There we go. We all in? Oh my gosh. There we go. We're in business.
We're in business.
Okay, let's have our first question, Lorraine.
Okay, Tammy P asks, hi ladies, my question is about antique printing plates. I have a few that I love the design. What would be the best way to ink and stamp with it to get a clear image for cards or scrapbook layouts?
I recommend using a brayer and an ink pad. So roll a brayer, a soft rubber brayer, over an ink pad and then roll it over your printing plate. Do it once or twice. You shouldn't need more than that. And then when you go to stamp it, it's not going to have as much cushion as a stamp. You'll want to stamp it like on a mouse pad or something like that to give you an extra cushion. But that would be your best bet. You just want a really thin layer of ink.
Sherry asks, you scrapbook a lot, so how do you print your pictures? Do you use digital and print your own photos? I take tons of digital pictures, but find I never print them due to always trying to find the best printer. Any advice?
I print mine at home because I like the convenience. It's probably not the cheapest, although I do have a printer that I'm able to get generic ink very affordably for. And I print them I use a software called, I used to use Picture Collage Maker Pro, and I've used Shape Collage, but what I'm using right now is the free software called iPicky, and you find it online at iPicky.com. And you don't have to download anything on your computer. You just upload your pictures, and then you can drag them around into different collages, and once you like it, you save it onto your hard drive. So you can save, well, you have to save your collage, and then you can print it out in whatever printer, whatever photo software you use. And I find that to be great because then I can kind of have a lot of the work done for my scrapbook page. Or if I decide that I really don't need to decorate this page, I can put it right in an 8.5 by 11 page protector and call it done, and it's in my scrapbook. And it's also in my scrapbook. I store all my photos in my scrapbook until I'm ready to scrapbook them, so they can still be enjoyed and looked at until I get around to decorating a page. So that's what I use. I find that if I can do that and I get like 12 pictures on a page, even if it costs me $1 to print a page at home, it's still going to be cheaper than getting, you know, those 12 individual shots, and then I have to try to get them to all fit and stuff. So
clip them down.
Yep.
And do the paper and embellishments or whatever to make the pages to hold them. So picky as in how?
I-P-I-C-C-Y, I think. Or maybe it's an I, but iPicky is the...
Okay. Is it me? It's you.
No, it's you.
It's me?
No, it's me. I guess it's somebody read a question. Penny Frugal, what can I purchase to pre-package my homemade earrings?
I use the 3x5 ATC cards. They're little envelopes. They're little clear self-sealing bags from Paper Mart. And what I do is I'll stamp an ATC frame. That's an artist trading card frame, just a little, you know, frame that's 2.5 by 3.5. And then I poke a couple holes, or I actually got a little punch I haven't really used very much, to you know, punch little holes, and then I just put them in and slide them in the bag and seal them up, and I'll write the price on with pencil on the back so it can be erased. But that keeps them from getting shop worn or lost during craft fairs, so that works for me.
Yep. Bits13 says, I've been gifted with an old set of encyclopedias. Any ideas for what I could use them for?
Oh, we were just talking about all kinds of book ideas last time. You can make book safes. You can cut out the artwork to use in collage or altered art pieces. You can make paper beads with the pages. You can Mod Podge the pages and paint on them. You could gesso your pages and use them for an art journal. It might get a little fat, so you may have to cut some pages out to accommodate that, but lots of things you can do with old encyclopedias.
Melissa M. asks, I have a 14-year-old son that has expressed an interest in making pottery. I was wondering if you could give me some direction in helping him explore this side of art without breaking my bank.
Okay, 14. If he's in high school, chances are there'll be a pottery program with his high school art. That's where I learned, you know, how to use pottery wheel and the basics of clay. But if not, you can check the Yellow Pages and see if there's a ceramic studio or even a pottery studio that may allow you to, they may teach classes, ask if they have classes first, and if not, ask if they rent kiln space. So you can, clay is not expensive. Clay's like, you know, I've ordered it online at Blick, and they let you get it in the free shipping, which I'm surprised because that's heavy. I've gotten clay.
Yeah.
but it's per pound. Clay is not that expensive. I'm thinking I used to get 25-pound bricks for about $14.
Wow.
So it's not bad. Shipping will kill you unless you get it like, you know, someplace that's offering free shipping. But then you can make your pieces and then fire it somewhere else, because where you're going to get into the expense is the kiln and a pottery wheel. We have a little magazine called Uncle Henry's in Maine, and well, actually it's all New England, I think it covers, but like they often have kilns and pottery wheels and stuff like that for cheap, because people got in the hobby like in the 70s or 80s and then decided they didn't want to do it anymore. So if he's really interested, I would, you know, check out one of those resources. Probably Craigslist. I've never used Craigslist, but that might be a space where you can find that, or the classifieds, or even like post on Facebook. I'm looking for a kiln cheap. Anybody got one to sell? And probably someone has, you know, maybe their mom was into ceramics in the 70s, or they know somebody who's got one sitting in their garage you can't wait to get rid of because, you know, it's expensive to run or whatever. Because, you know, it is going to make your light bill go up, but I don't think that's, I think the big cost is the actual equipment. So that would be my advice. See if you can rent kiln space. And some pottery people will be very picky about that, because if they're not doing their pottery right, it can explode and ruin the other things in the kiln. So that's the, you know, that's the only thing. They may make you pay for a full kiln, so you might have to wait till you have enough stuff together to do it by itself. So if something breaks of yours or explodes, and you're not ruining anybody else's stuff. But that's how I would do it. You can get tools cheaply, you can get clay cheaply. The cost is going to be in the firing, and then like a pottery wheel if you want one. But they had a I almost bought it. Oh my gosh, it was a kick wheel. It was on Uncle Henry's, and it was $100. And I was just thinking, the kids don't like. We have a playhouse. Kids don't play in it. And I was thinking that could be my pottery shed. Yeah. I could put a kick wheel in there. I'm like, but then I need a kiln, and then it turned into if you give a moose a muffin, you know, you're gonna have something to do with it. I'm like, no, I cannot go down the ceramics road. I've got too much stuff going on. Too many crafts I really get a chance to do. So I didn't. But that would be my advice for a inexpensive pottery startup.
Yeah. Sounds good. KT Didits. Welcome back. I save a lot of cardboard and toilet paper rolls in my crafting. What are some of your favorite items to reuse in your crafting, and what have you used them to make?
Oh, let's see. Well, you're the toilet paper roll queen. You're always got projects for those. What do I save? I save credit cards. I cut up credit cards. I use them for watercolor and for spreading glue. I'm trying to think. Oh, let me look at my junk drawer, because I'll bet
Chipboard.
Oh, chipboard. Yes, cereal box.
And are you impressed? I actually remembered the name
You
of
did.
it.
Oh, that's right.
I have to struggle.
Packaging. I save all those plastic packaging, like that embossing folders and stuff come in, because I'll cut them out and make like my own clear acrylic shapes. Or I use them for paint palettes that I can throw away. I save egg cartons to sort beads and for kids crafts. Oh gee, a lot of times I'll repurpose old toys too, like old blocks, use them as stamp mounts. Let's see, boxes. I love our boxes.
Yeah.
I'd love to say I use them for things.
She
Potentially
even has her children collecting things off the side of the road to bring home to her to store stuff. She's infected her kids.
Yeah. Oh yes, I should spin the camera around and show you that. I have a shelf. My kids were out jogging and they said, "Mom, we saw this great shelf. We thought you wanted it for your craft room." It's that white one back there.
Sure
it's
enough.
the new one. There you go. And I said, "Well, I don't know. I probably don't need any more shelves." And they came home with it. And so I'm like, "Well, geez, I hosed that puppy off, and look at that. Look at all the stuff I can store." So yes, I guess I do. What do you girls reuse? You guys have some good ideas?
Not so much anymore. I'm trying to throw everything away. But it's hard, you know. I got a lot of cracker boxes, cardboard boxes,
Yeah, I just got some, the kids had some of those little sandwich crackers that you put in the lunchbox, like peanut butter crackers and whatnot. And I was just thinking the little cardboard package that it comes in would be perfect for lining up all my little washi tapes in.
Oh, yeah.
This would be perfect.
Yep.
So, little tray.
Yeah, I'm sure this will be one of those things I think of, like all these other things I've saved afterwards. Boxes are a big Achilles heel of mine.
Yes.
Yes. All right, what do we have?
Okay, Beth R. 1776 ad. Have any of you ever worked with hydrogen peroxide in your paper crafting? Considered a superwater, H2O2, I'm wondering if adding hydrogen peroxide to any mediums or pigments would result in some interesting surprises. How about mixing hydrogen peroxide with alcohol or glycerin?
I
That'd be a question for my son. He's a STEM STEM student, and he'll know if it might explode.
I'm worried about it bleaching your paper out.
Oh yeah.
Because hydrogen peroxide is a bleaching agent, so I have not used that. I think it might make things brittle too, since it's a bleaching agent.
Yeah.
So I use it in my hair, folks, and that's about it.
Okay, Deep Martin says, glad you gals are back. I was wondering if you could do a video or comment on polymer clay. I'm really interested in giving it a try, but don't know anything about it. What type would you recommend and tools needed?
I've actually had quite a few requests on Ask a Crafter for polymer clay stuff, so I think I'm gonna probably do some like Christmas ornaments or something like that. I'm very simple when it comes to polymer clay. I'll make beads or cut out a basic shape and stamp an image on it or something like that. But I recommend, if you want to get started in it, there's a couple different grades. There's like there's your more higher end clay, which would be like your Primo polymer clay, Sculpey Primo, and it's once it's cured, it's slightly flexible. So say you made a necklace and you had some thinner pieces, like maybe some leaves, and you made them out of the Primo clay. They could bend and not snap. It's less brittle, but like your Sculpey 3 is more rigid, so you wouldn't want to make anything too thin or it will snap and crack on you. The advantage of Sculpey 3 is that it's really soft and easy to work with, so you wouldn't need like a pasta machine or anything to condition it, and your kids could use it. It's just very soft and easy. But if you're using the more flexible clay like the Primo, you'll need a pasta machine to condition it, because it's really hard to work with, but you get a flexible result. It's like opposite. If the clay is soft and easy to work with, you're going to get a more brittle piece when it's fired, which is kind of, you know, backwards to think about. But yeah, I pretty much do beads and stuff, but I'll try to get a few polymer clay tutorials. Actually, do we have that strip of paper, or have you already tossed it?
I tossed it. I might have it handy.
We can track it down.
I can write it down anyway, but hopefully that helped you get started. I would just get I would probably start off with Sculpey 3 and get maybe just a little set of clay tools for a couple dollars at the craft store. Oh, actually, what I would do is they have a pack of 24 colors, Sculpey 3, and it's like $16. You can use a 50% off coupon on it.
Oh, wow.
Get that and then get a little pack of clay tools. That's what I would do right there.
And our Edwards, what is the difference between acrylic and India ink? Is acrylic ink just watered down acrylic paint? What are their intended uses?
I think acrylic ink has less filler in it than like an acrylic craft paint, and I think that's so it's kind of like the dye and the acrylic medium. So it's almost like if you had like a matte medium or gel medium, which is kind of like the clear stuff that the paint is dispersed in, the part that makes it stick. So it's like that plus the ink and probably something to keep it fluid. It's very opaque. You get a very thin layer of color when you use it. It's not just watered down paint. It's got less. It's still concentrated, is what I want to say. It's got the same amount of pigments, but it doesn't have the fillers in it, I believe, and that's what keeps it. It might not have as much binder in it. It might just be more color, just enough binder to make it stick. And you could use it very similar to India ink. They behave very similarly. The acrylic ink is usually more opaque, whereas the India ink is more transparent. Did that make sense? It sounded like I was just like, making things up.
What I heard.
I don't know, I wasn't paying attention.
If you want to see some stuff in particular with India ink, her mixed media art journal pages, she's done a lot with it, and it seems really cool.
Yeah, I really like the Bombay ink. I've only used a few of the acrylic inks. I really like the Bombay India inks. The acrylic inks do tend to dry out quicker too than the India inks, for what it's worth.
Okay, Paula Cornell. Hi Lindsay, I've been thinking about buying a melt pot. Can you give me some advice on products I can melt in it and things I can make?
You can melt wax, like beeswax. Some people do altered art with that, or you can make candles. You can melt ultra thick embossing enamel or any embossing enamels. You can melt hot glue. You can melt friendly plastic pellets or friendly plastic. You'd melt that in water, I believe. Have you guys used the friendly plastic pellets? I haven't used those either.
What would you melt hot glue for? What would you do with it?
Maybe you want to have how you can buy hot glue pots?
Oh no.
So if you're doing floral stuff,
you
just got to dip a stick and things like that.
Yeah, or wreaths, and you want to dip the end of a pine cone in and then stick it on the wreath. Those are some ideas. I'm sure they have a lot more ideas on the Ranger website. And you know, you could always use like a griddle with a tuna fish can in it, a clean tuna can to make your own. Yep, crayons. Yeah, absolutely. You can make your own lip balms and yeah, all kinds of stuff. Melt chocolate. I think they do chocolate in it too. They'll get like a separate. Really? You can get separate little scoopers, liners. Yeah. Yeah. So you could do chocolate. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What about a Ranger embossing powder? Have you ever used that?
I've used Ranger's ultra thick embossing enamel. I think that's
that? Oh,
that's the only one I've used.
Okay, because somebody the other day was using it, some embossing powders, and they had Ranger brand, and they didn't like it at all.
It was probably the Distress. Was it Distress?
I don't
embossing?
know. I didn't even look at it.
Because that's designed to look old and grungy. So like it's got stuff. It's got things in the powder. It's almost like a sand.
It doesn't like fill in completely.
Yeah, you brush off.
Kind of
so
choppy.
Disappointed in it. I said, there must be a reason because I've heard you use Ranger things.
I think that's because it must be the Distress embossing powder. So it's meant to look old and vintage and not to give you a complete image.
Oh, okay.
I think it's got like sand or something in it.
Yeah, and that's what it looked like.
So some of the design will brush out, and it won't be. It's not glossy. It's not. Yeah, it's just a different effect. But I use the Ranger ultra thick embossing enamel, and mine's old, and it still works great. Because I got some on clearance when that Craft World place was going out of business in Bangor. So that tells you how old that is.
Yeah.
I got 2 bottles of it, and I'm still working on the first one. It goes a long way, and I use it a lot.
Because I've heard. I think mine's just fine too, and it's pretty old. But I've heard people talk about it not kind of going bad.
I think if you live I think depends on where you live. I think with people down in like a west, I've heard people like in Arizona losing the powder going after a couple.
Maybe it just gets so
years.
hot that it like practically melts and then doesn't, and it just kind of kills it.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm humid, but it doesn't seem to affect my embossing powder. I've only had like one go bad, and that was when somebody sent me from down south. So I'm wondering if maybe something with the heat down there, maybe it got truck baked or something like clay can get.
Nani Scrap. Hello, ladies. You're all so fabulous. Speaking of the South, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I would like to produce some inspirational type canvases or prints for sale at a craft show. If I use direct quotes, I know to credit the author, but what about those general feel-good thoughts you can find on Pinterest, etc.? Live, love, laugh, for example. Are there any rules about those?
No, not the real generic ones, because for you to get in trouble copyright-wise for that, now I'm not a lawyer or anything, obviously. I wouldn't be in my basement crafting if I was a lawyer. I'd be making the big bucks. But you know, in order for somebody to prove that you have infringed on their copyright, they would have to prove that this was an original idea that they created themselves. And I've seen live, laugh, love on everything from candles to t-shirts to people's craft fair items to, you know, everything. It's kind of like a public domain thing because nobody's going to prove that that's their original thing. And if they could prove that, then they would have shut down everybody else doing it. So I don't think you need to worry about that. And a craft fair is such a small... You know, I'd say that you should infringe on copyrights because you're in a small, venue. But a craft fair is such a small venue, I really wouldn't worry about it, And to really prove damages on somebody doing something like that, you'd have to be mass producing it. And then, because like, what are you going to do? Here's a 750 I just made on that sign. There you go. Right. Have a nice life, So I wouldn't worry about that in the craft fair if it's a generic. I wouldn't go, copying somebody's design exactly. I mean, that's not cool. But just to put that quote on your own artwork, I think you're going to be fine.
Okay.
Oh wait, let me look at the time. Oh, I think we could probably. I think we can get through that one.
Okay. Sandra Mason says, I have a new and complete set of Faber-Castell Pit brush pens. I'm wondering if I can blend with them. I love your tutorials. They're so much fun.
Yes, you can. The best way to do that would be to get a ceramic tile, a white tile, or a piece of plastic. Scribble out your colors on that. Make yourself a little palette. And then use either a damp brush or a blending pen, just like a clear water-based blending pen like Stampin' Up! Or Tombow. Both of those are really good. And then you just pick up the color from the little palette, and then you can start coloring, and wherever you start is going to be the darkest, then you work it out and it's going to get lighter as you go. And that's just a really fun technique that you can do with any of your water-based markers. I know Pitt pens are India ink, but they're also water-based, so you can do that with any of your water-based markers. That's all the time we have today. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Leave your questions for next time down below. And as always, happy crafting!
Happy crafting!